Hey, good morning. I'm wearing my Barbie terracotta. That's right, terracotta. The only reason I know it's terracotta because I went on a date in high school with the great Lynn Henderlong, and she had a jacket on, and I called it like pink, and they laughed at me. They said, "No, dummy, you meathead athlete, it's terracotta." I'm celebrating Barbie today, and we're going to get into that, but you Northwestern guys, you're just weird. Like Northwestern, the naked rope swings, the naked climbing, we'll get into some of that, but now the volleyball team. The ex-volleyball player is saying, well, you know, we were forced to run suicides. I look weird today. This looks off. This isn't my best look. I apologize. I'm going to do better with my look. I thought this would look better, but it doesn't. Anyway, the volleyball crew, now because Jane Doe had to run suicides, now that's hazing, and she had to dive on every line. Well, guess what? In volleyball, you dive. And now the coach, who is a great dude, the coach is not sort of kind of a good dude. The coach is a great dude and a great mentor and a fantastic human being. Now he's got to answer for follow-up from the naked idiots at Northwestern football. You Northwestern football players, hey, I don't give a damn whether the coach knew or didn't know. I know Pat Fitzgerald is coming out and saying he didn't know. I don't care who knew. You all are some weird dudes, man. Like you all, I'm talking to right now to all you ex-Northwestern players that did fat guy, big naked stuff. If you're doing fat guy or skinny guy naked stuff in the locker room, you're just a weird dude. Like, I'll never understand rope swings naked. I'll never understand dry humping dudes. I'll never understand it. I won't. And look, Fitzgerald, if you didn't know, and your attorney came out and said you didn't know, you sure the hell should have known. I mean, you were there long enough. You were there long enough that you had to have known about this running where dudes are naked. All the naked stuff is just stupid. Look, you want to go in the locker room and whatever, but god dang, the naked hazing is insane. Hobart High School had that back when I was in high school, and I remember thinking to myself, I got to tell you, man, that's never happened as long as I'm an upperclassman. It never happened at my high school. I went to Andrea, neighboring high school. But my God, now we got an ex-volleyball player who is saying, they made me run. They made me run. All right, they made you run. Oh, my God, they made you run. We're so sad. They made me run suicide. We knew the world was coming to this. We knew this is the direction it was heading. You do something stupid, you screw up, and all you got to do is run. This is why players should never run teams. This is why players should never run universities. Because players are the ones doing, in the football sense, players are the ones doing it. So does Ben Crump and all of his cronies. That girl was really, really good, by the way. She was fantastic. She was an All-American. She's by far, I think she transferred, but damn, was she good. I watched her play at Purdue. Woohoo, was she good. Anyway, you freaking, Ben Crump comes out, and you know when Ben Crump gets hired, everything is going to go to hell in a handbasket. It's going to be TV, it's going to be drama, it's going to be self-preservation by Crump, it's going to be, I don't know, basically a commercial for this guy. And of course, race is going to be involved, and that's what they allege in the volleyball. But I got to tell you, hey, look, the volleyball thing is total crap. It's just complete and utter crap. And when I say crap, I mean you couldn't have more crap. Absolute crap. There's not one person on that volleyball team that can say a bad thing about the coach. There's not one. Not one. Except this person who's mad because who knows, or got coerced into a lawsuit. There's not one. I swear to you, there isn't. I'm not the volleyball coach. Now, you can talk about the football idiot all you want. The meathead football dummy who allowed all this stuff. But there isn't one person other than this person. You will not see other volleyball players get involved in this, and it blanks me off because this should not be. The football one absolutely should be. The volleyball one is idiotic. It's ridiculous. It's just piling on because that's what you want to do. I guarantee you somewhere, somehow, somebody in the basketball program run by Chris Collins, who is a great dude. And look, it's not even a matter of if you're a great dude. It's not. It's not a matter of if you're a great dude. It's a matter of if you knew your team was doing this. That's what it's a matter of. That's what I said about Fitzgerald. Everybody's going to tell you Fitzgerald is a great dude. Everybody's going to tell you Fitzgerald is one of the best guys you'll ever be around. And I don't think anybody's doubting that. I honestly don't. I don't think anybody's doubting that Fitzgerald is a great dude. No. But did he know and did he encourage and did he facilitate this? I guarantee you, Shane Davis, the volleyball coach, I guarantee you no more of these come out. This is frivolous. This is idiot. I'm just telling you. Get mad, glad, well, you weren't there. You're right, I wasn't. But I'll tell you this. I promise you, this is a one-off. Football's just going to get bigger. I mean, and you football players, you're just weird. Peter Skronsky, the guy with the Titans, I hope you weren't involved in this. Your dad and your uncle, who I know very well, and your grandfather, who I knew pretty well, would be like spinning around. Like, are you crazy? Naked, stupid stuff is ridiculous. I hate it. I do. And I'm kind of stumbling over my words here. It gets me so pissed off. Two things piss me off. The naked, stupid stuff and then a frivolous lawsuit against a dude in the program that have run themselves fantastic. Yeah, of course the university came back and said making her run suicides and diving was hazing. Of course they're going to do that. Because anytime a parent, mommy, daddy, anytime a student athlete raises a question, yeah, we got to give them satisfaction. Never give them satisfaction. Hey, Saquon Barkley signed. Does anybody care? Seriously, I want to discuss this. Does anybody really care? We told you that Saquon Barkley, when we showed you a video last week of Saquon Barkley, man, I'm going to sit out. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure you are. Barkley was supposed to play on $10.1 million, no signing bonus, zero incentive. So Barkley got a pretty good deal. $10.1, $2 million at signing, $909,000 in incentives. He could make $11 million. Now understand, well, Daniel Jones, the quarterback, hasn't done anything for the Giants, people say. He's a white guy. That's why they gave him the money. No, he's the quarterback. Daniel Jones has done squat for the Giants. Saquon Barkley has done squat for the Giants. And here's why I say squat, because I am a believer in the NFL. The only thing that matters is winning. I don't want to hear about the great draft choice. I don't want to hear about the salary cap. I don't want to hear about any of it. I just want to hear about winning, and neither of them have done. Wait a second. Daniel Jones got paid. He got paid big green. Saquon Barkley did not get paid by normal football standards. By our standards, he got really paid, but I digress. Well, let me explain this to you. I'm a man. Well, if you're a man, then you understand the business of football. And the business of football is this. Quarterbacks get paid, running backs don't. It's literally that simple. You are what the market says you are, and Saquon Barkley, very fortunate to get what he got. Now, Barkley could have sat out, but he was never going to do that. Josh Jacobs apparently is on a flight out of Vegas. Good for Josh Jacobs. You know what? The season will go on. The Raiders will go on. They'll have a running back, and it probably 90% will be Jacobs because these guys are all full of crap. That's all I got to say on it. It's not that big a deal. Saquon Barkley and the Giants, were they in Charlotte, nobody would care. Nobody really cared about Christian McCaffrey, but that's okay. It's New York, and we understand that. All right, Mbappe. Do you know who this guy is? Mbappe. Listen to this. Listen to this. You think Saudi Arabia is coming? Do you think in the world of sports the Saudis are coming? Do you think? I do. Let me explain to you why I do. This ain't slowing down. This is only being enhanced. Hang on, caller. They offered, listen to this, 1 year, $1.1 billion. $332 million transfer fee to his other club. $776 million salary for 1 season. 1 season. Now, this has, of course, the attention of most of us, including, well, LeBron James. It caught his attention. Giannis Antetokounmpo, it caught his attention. Here you go. Look at that. Money is wild in football with the foot, not the head. Money is insane in the foots. Messi, insane money. Mbappe, insane money. But it's a bigger issue than that. The Saudis are coming. You can call it sports washing. I call it just having money and wanting to be in sports. And we all know money corrupts. Oh, I don't know. Giannis looked like maybe he was interested. Everybody should be interested. If you are a professional athlete, you should. You can roll those things, fellas. You should. Hey, you can take me. I look like Mbappe. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. There you go. LeBron James put out one where he's running to Saudi Arabia, where he's Forrest Gump, and he's running. Look, hey, money talks, BS walks. That's why I've said I got no problem with the live golfers. I have family members that have problems with the live golfers. Everybody can have a problem with the live golfers. I don't have a problem with the live golfers because everything in our society, damn near, is funded by the Saudis. I told you this before. When I saw a statue, a beautiful centerpiece of Arkansas University or University of Arkansas, whatever the hell it's called, and the first person that funded it was some sheik from Saudi Arabia, I'm like, yeah, shut up, everybody. Just shut up with the Saudi angst. Yeah, they kill people, but so's China. You know this. Hell, we kill people. So this dude has a chance to make over $700 million in un year. Better be good. Messi lived up to it already, right? Messi gets ready to rock and roll again tonight, but at least he lived up to it. He had the game-winning goal. And this is different than Pele, fellas. Like back in the day, Messi coming over here, people say, well, Pele came over in 77 and he had great crowds and then it went away. Yeah, it went away. But these guys have like hundreds of millions of followers on Instagram. 479 is how many millions that Lionel Messi has on Instagram. That's how many followers he has. Are you kidding me? Are you insane? Man, the world is nuts. And look, I'm sorry. I'll tell you right now, if the Saudi OutKick offered me that kind of scratch, shoot, be mad at me, peoples. Be mad. A golfer, Justin Doden, he cheated. He did. The dude cheated, and then he admitted to it. And, of course, he said he needs prayers. What? He cheated. He literally did this. I want you to listen to this move by this guy. So this guy is on the Canadian tour, and this guy's trying to qualify. I mean, not trying to qualify. He's trying to make the cut. So he's trying to make the cut. Okay. Well, in trying to make the cut, he decides that he's going to take his eraser and erase a 7 on his card and make it a 5. Now, I don't know what to tell you. It's literally the dumbest thing that I've ever seen. Like, they're stupid. Like, I thought when I was going to read this, I was going to read that he nudged the ball, maybe fluffed a lie. I don't know. And I'm not saying one's worse than the other because integrity is golf. And golf is integrity. I'm here to confess of the biggest mistake I've made in my life to date. I cheated in golf. It's not who I am. Well, it is who you are. Yeah, it is. You're the one that did it. Hey, look, it's not who I am to be bald. Really? I let my family down, my sponsors down, my competitors. I let myself down. Okay. He cheated on his scorecard on the par 5 15. He hit his second shot into the water. He took a penalty drop, dropped, hit 4, that kind of stuff. He had a 7, a double bogey. However, when his score was posted later in the afternoon, he said it looked like he scored a 5 on the 18th. At scoring, the player who kept Doden's card confirmed his scores and signed it. Doden then asked for the card, saying he wanted to double check some things. His player partner then saw the final score. And then they looked at Doden's scorecard and found that the 7 had been erased and replaced with a 5. Oh, by the way, a 5 would have allowed him to make the cut. A 7, he didn't. Man, people always ask, why they got to walk up and sign their card in front of people, and if you don't sign the right card, you can be disqualified. Why they got to do that? That's why. Like, what are you doing? Like, come on. Look, I swear to you, cheating in golf is among the worst offenses that you can do in sports. It just simply is. You know, anybody that's ever played golf understands one simple thing. Golf is about integrity. Golf is about integrity. I don't care if he apologizes. I don't care if he says he did wrong. The entire game, as my friend Aaron said, is based on integrity. It's based on self-governance. You're upset about it. You screwed up. I got to tell you, whatever consequences you get, you deserve. Now, should his career end? I don't know. Nobody's saying your career has to end, but you forever are known as a cheat. Like Patrick Reed is forever known as a cheat. Yeah, he won the Masters. But I got to tell you, this is egregious. Like, well, people steal signs in baseball. Really? Do they change the score? Of course they don't. This is unbelievable. It really is. This is a big story. People always ask, well, why do we have to walk up there and make a big scene signing a scorecard? Imagine if you didn't have to. A lot of money at stake. I don't know if you've noticed, but money corrupts. Corrupted this guy. Hey, Nyheim Hines, we talked about this a minute yesterday. Nyheim Hines is really a good dude. Like Nyheim Hines, the running back for the Bills, was traded from the Colts. And whenever Nyheim Hines was on my show here at Indy, I really liked him. In fact, I liked him to the point a couple times where I would text Ballard and go, man, that dude is really, really good. So he tore his ACL. We talked about this a minute yesterday. But the report came on, he was in a jet ski. And what had happened was he was sitting on a jet ski and some idiot banged into him and tore up his knee. Now, that's the report. I saw it today, and I've seen it numerous places. Like, he's just sitting there. He's minding his own business. He's just sitting there sweet as you please. And next thing you know, some clown comes up too close, bangs into him. Man, you can't live your life in bubble wrap. You just can't. So Nyheim Hines was out jet skiing. I've seen people, well, you shouldn't be jet skiing. Really? Why not? I mean, damn, look, basketball, a lot of guys have in their contracts, you can't play basketball, maybe you can't go skiing, maybe you can't go what, I don't know. But a freak accident, you're never going to get away from it. I feel bad because that dude is a really, 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 really good dude. The Green Bay Packers president is already setting up, hey, look, it's going to take a half a season to tell about Jordan Love. Really? Okay. All right, I'm comparing it a little bit to Aaron Rodgers' first year. I'd say at least half a season to know. And I didn't even think, though, we ended up with a losing record that year. We saw enough of Aaron to know we had something special. That's Mark Murphy. Mark Murphy played. So I'm comparing it to Aaron's first year as a starter. I agree. I get it. I do. I understand it. Like Jordan Love. But he's been sitting there, and the fact of the matter is, I don't think Packer fans are going to feel the same way. I don't think Packer fans are going to be all that happy if the first half of the season they lose to the Bears. Aaron Rodgers, as he famously said, he owns the Bears. I don't think they're going to be very happy if, I don't know, Jordan Love loses to Minnesota or Jordan Love doesn't get it done in the first half of the season. Now, it is incumbent on Jordan Love to make Mark Murphy and the ownership, which includes the fans, of the Green Bay Packers feel exactly like the last line. They got to know they have something special in Jordan Love. They have to know this. You've seen it before with the Packers. Brett Favre, here comes Rodgers, and away we go. All right, Brett Favre had to sit after the trade from Atlanta. Aaron Rodgers had to sit after the disappointing draft day. Wasn't a disappointing draft day for Jordan Love, but he had to sit because Aaron Rodgers wasn't going away. So we've seen this scenario before, and I'm very anxious to see how this plays out. I really am. Because, you know what? Jordan Love is an easy target, and I'm not sure why. I'm really not sure why. But he seems like a guy that's going to be criticized easily. When I see that happen, I'm like, hold on a second. Let's see what this guy does. And good, absolutely good. Good for the Packers for coming out and defending him. Look, I don't know. Clark Hunt, he of the hot daughter. I think it's his daughter. Andy Reid, people are talking about retirement. Where's Andy Reid going to go? You know what I'm saying? So the owner of the Kansas City Chiefs says, no, we're shutting this down right now. Andy Reid is incredibly energized and excited. Andy Reid, if we're really going to tell the truth, is like a guy that everybody likes. But he's been a horseshit father. And I know we're not allowed to say that. I mean, he has put football over everything else by every account. Look, I'm not there. I don't know. I know kids have problems. I know his kids have had problems, multiple problems. But he's put football over everything else according to every single human being that I know. And maybe what I just said was a little harsh. But what's Andy Reid going to do without football? I don't know. I honestly don't know. And I'm not sure that I really care. But Andy Reid is now becoming that guy, that curmudgeon, that dude, right? The dude that everybody likes, the dude that everybody thinks is great. He's really reinvented himself. He's the lovable, likable. You see him doing commercials. But Andy Reid's put football above everything. Now, people can say he hasn't, but hey, look, I'm just telling you what people say. Hey, another idiot has been suspended for gambling on NFL games. Iama Wazuki. That's right, and I said that properly. I looked it up this morning. I did. He's with the Broncos, and he bet on NFL games. So he, ladies and gentlemen, is going to have to sit a year and then figure it out. I'm not so sure I'd let these guys back. I'm really not. Would you let these guys back? I'm not sure. I don't know, man. I mean, why is baseball so sanctimonious that Pete Rose can't get back in the sport, but these dudes are like, yeah, we bet on it. We'll give them a year. We'll figure it out. I mean, people act like Pete Rose committed triple homicide. People act like Pete Rose is Aaron Hernandez. I mean, yeah, okay, Pete Rose bet on baseball. Yeah, he bet on his own team, of course. And if you don't think he messed up with the lineup to get his team to win, you're nuts. Of course he did. But the truth of the matter is football is just like, yeah, he's suspended. Yeah, we'll give him a year. It really is interesting to me. It's fascinating to me where this goes. So the other dude, Calvin Ridley, he just bet on sports, and him being suspended is just stupid. And I'll say it every single time I get the chance. There is no, cathedral on 56th Street here in Indianapolis, because that's the Colts building. I don't get confession there. I don't get communion there. It's a freaking football building. It's where fat idiots run around naked, acting like fat idiots. I mean, what are we talking about here? It's where you get lunch. It's where you lift weights. It's where you get taped up. It's where you get in a cold tub. It's where you sit in a locker and act like a jackass to reporters, which I support. It's not some cathedral. Well, you can't bet in the building. Shut up. We're going to bet in Lucas Oil Stadium. I'm taking my phone when I go to a Colts game, and I bet my face off during the game. Can't bet in the building. Shut up with that, but you shouldn't bet on your sport. And I'm not even 100% why I'm not. I'm really not. Oh, yeah. Hey, do we have a propaganda piece? Let's watch this piece. Here's our little propaganda piece. Colin Kaepernick, Derrick Henry, Jalen Waddle, CeeDee Lamb. Nike's trying to prop up their guy, Colin Kaepernick. Let's see it, baby. Let's see the Nike clip on old Cap. Oh, maybe. Oh, okay, never mind. We shall continue. It's a Nike propaganda piece. Hey, it made me turn green. Anyway, Chase Claypool was supposed to come over to the Bears and change the world. Chase Claypool's nuts. Chase Claypool, I used to like him. I thought he was going to be good. But Chase Claypool has come over. He's done nothing with the Bears. And now this clown is, making videos about how he's going to do this and do that and do all of this kind of stuff. And Chase Claypool, to me, ladies and gentlemen, now he's on IR. Now he's like, all right. Now the Bears took him off the PUP list because they got to get him. Bears fans worried about Twitter being renamed when Chase Claypool's hurt and unable to play the boundary. Bro's worried about the wrong X. I don't get that. I'm not smart enough. I don't know what that means. Chase Claypool, yeah. Get out of here. Why do the Bears always have such problems? Can somebody explain that to me? Deshaun Watson is pissed. Deshaun Watson feels like the media is creating a narrative about him that isn't a narrative. Deshaun Watson, the whole situation changed me. Really? Okay. Well, in a situation where I just had to lock in on myself, channel and really know who I'm surrounding myself with, and just really who's going to be there and support me when I'm at my very lowest point. And the last few years were definitely my lowest point in my life, but that's part of life. I just grow from it. I learn from it. I continue to move forward, push forward, and continue to show my real character, my real personality, and who I am. Oh, all right. Oh, okay. Great. Hey, what about all the women that had to give you a handy? What about all the women who had to do all kind of freaky stuff with you because you were like a rat bastard? I mean, what about those girls? Do they get to show who their real self is? It's amazing. You cannot, as Deshaun Watson, ever, in my opinion, express any remorse for what you did because here come the lawsuits. You can't do it. It's impossible. You just can't do it. All right? You cannot do it. You shouldn't do it. You won't do it. You can't do it. Don't do it. But I will say this. If you are Deshaun Watson, I don't want to hear about you. I'm sorry. I don't want to hear about you. You are one of those guys that is just so freaking nasty and so ridiculous and so fraudulent that the only time I really want to hear from Deshaun Watson, I don't know how you feel about this, but the only time I really want to hear from Deshaun Watson, frankly, is, I don't know, maybe when he's playing football. I don't want to hear from Deshaun Watson when he's doing anything other than playing football. When Deshaun Watson plays football, I'm here for it. When Deshaun Watson wants to play football, I'll watch. I'm not going to watch and root. I'm not going to say, hey, yeah, go fight, win. But I do have a lot of friends that are Cleveland Brown fans. And I do have a lot of friends that like and want Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns to win. But right now, I don't care about Deshaun Watson even a little bit. And neither should you. When Deshaun Watson tries to make the narrative about himself, we should all do the same thing. Yeah, bite me. That's what we should say. Yeah, Deshaun, okay, man. Yeah, dig into yourself. Get real with yourself. Find out who you are. That's not who you really are. We all know that's not who you really are, Deshaun. We know you are a perv. So anything you're talking about, we'll just simply say, hey, look, you are a perv, and we're not mad about it. Hey, look, you get caught, you get caught. And he got caught, and he got suspended, and he did his time. Now, I can hear the fellas now. Well, man, the guy did his time, lay off. Nah, I don't think so. Nah, not to me. Nah, I'm going to go a different direction. I'm going to say, Deshaun Watson, I got to tell you, I'm rooting against Deshaun Watson. I am. I remember when Dabo tried to tell us, well, he's Michael Jordan. Is he really, though? Is he really? Maybe he is. Not yet. Hasn't been. But he gives me gas. All right, who's up first? I think my man Hutton's up first. I love Hutton. I love Jonathan Hutton. I want to talk to Jonathan Hutton. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, not only do I have Jonathan Hutton, ladies and gentlemen, I've got Bobby Barack. Bobby Barack, ladies and gentlemen, is the conscience of America. That's right. You guys may be mad, and I hope you are. I hope you're all mad at the Barbie movie. I'm not mad. We're going to get into that. Why are you mad at a movie? I'm not mad at a movie. We'll be right back.
Cancel culture that we live in. They want you to think you'll be canceled. They want you to be scared of the name calling. But that really is all it is. And it speaks more to their insecurities than it does to yours. I saw people on TikTok, Olivia. I saw people coming for your eyebrows. Is that what they're going to resort to? And you're right. It's because they can't dissuade from your argument, which is actually really powerful. And it should boost your confidence. I think when people can look at a situation and take the negative, such as the backlash you're getting, which does suck. There's no taking away from that. It's not fun. It's not enjoyable. It does take a toll on you. But if you can take that backlash you're getting and ultimately use it to fuel your argument, I wish more people had that same perspective that you have. But what about the positive? Have you received a lot of good feedback? Have you had a lot of doors being open for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the opportunities that I have had are just absolutely incredible. And the support from people like you and all these other speakers who've spoken up about, men in their sports. And the ones that really stick out to me are actually the parents of young girls who are messaging me and saying, I have two daughters who are running cross country just like you did. Thank you so much for protecting them. Thank you so much for sticking up for them in their futures. And I'm like, that's why I'm doing this.
Yes.
It's
Oh
not
my
really for
gosh.
me, it's for all of these other girls, and not even just girls, but for college students, for young men, like all of these people, I want to help them. I mean, America was built on freedom of speech. That's why we are what we are. And colleges are now trying to take that away. And like we said earlier, it's going down a bad path. You don't have to be a great swimmer like you to speak up. You don't have to be the smartest in your class to speak up. You don't have to experience this to speak up, because everyone has a voice and we need everyone's voice to back us up now. Like, it's going to be in numbers that we can solve this issue.
Two grown men were just discussing the Barbie movie, and two very studly grown men. It is me, it is Jonathan Hutton, and we're just discussing Barbie. I'm not mad at Barbie. Hey, we'll get into that in a minute, but I got to go through a couple things. I don't know what your stance was, but I think all these running backs are full of crap. I saw Barkley talking about, well, I may just show them how much I mean to them. Yeah, you're worth what the market says you're worth. No?
Yeah, absolutely. And he found out, just like every other running back knows this. There's only a handful of teams, Dan, as you well know, that value running backs and pay them top dollar compared to the other players in their position group. McCaffrey, of course, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara. Barkley's one of them at the franchise tag at 10.1. Surface level, I don't disagree with what the top players are saying compared to their value to what they do offensively. But the position as a whole, I mean, it's set up this way. It's not the team's fault. It's not the league's issue. It's the collective bargaining agreement. It's the NFL Players Association that agreed to this structure because they took the money away from the rookies that were coming into the league who were holding out prior to 2011, getting massive amounts of money for signing bonuses to end their holdouts at the end of August and then join their team as a first-round pick. They did away with that. They gave the money to the vets instead of the rookies, and now the teams hold the leverage when it comes to the franchise tag. He gets $2 million up front now on this one-year agreement with New York. Instead, it would have been a weekly payment, albeit over $590,000 per week. He still gets that weekly payment, but he gets $2 million up front just to sign. That's really the only difference here, plus about $1 million of incentives. But they held this Zoom call, and everyone came back from it. Even Nick Chubb said this in Cleveland. There's really not much to be said based on the structure that we have in place. And the running backs aren't going to move the needle if they all decide to hold out. It would be the quarterbacks that would have to get it done, and they're the ones getting paid the most. They're not going to do anything. And right now, I mean, look at Burrow and Herbert. They're going into camp, and they're acting like everything's great when they could hold out and actually affect some change, just like we could see with the other top quarterbacks in the league, like Lamar Jackson tried to do.
What was your reaction when you saw that leaked Zoom call where running backs are talking about not faking injuries, but exaggerating injuries, which is the same thing?
Yeah, same thing. And with J.C. Tretter's alluding to this on the Ross Tucker podcast last week, he's the president of the NFLPA. Good offensive lineman, horrible there in alluding to. He's saying, I can't say that publicly. Well, I mean, he's telling us that he's almost hinting at that in that podcast. That would be extremely detrimental and idiotic for Barkley, for Josh Jacobs, who apparently left Las Vegas yesterday or the day before. I wonder what he thinks about this Barkley contract. He's also under the franchise tag. He hasn't signed it. That's not how you go about getting the money that you're actually arguing for. If you're threatening to sit out and if you do show up, yeah, you get the $10.1 million guarantee, but then you're going to fake an injury, get the guaranteed money, and then what does that do for you next offseason if, in fact, you're trying to get that generational wealth that they're talking about that the quarterbacks have, or that some of the other top players in the league have earned, that these guys have earned on the field? It's just their position. That's not how you go about it, Dan. And teams are already concerned about the injury plagued position that is the running back core. Barkley's already had an injury history. The list is long with McCaffrey and others. You can't go about doing that. And for the NFLPA president to even mention that is ludicrous. It's stupid. And it shows you just how dumb they are at the top of the Players Association. I think it's the worst Players Association in the major sports in America. Not because they don't get paid well, they do, but their leverage is awful compared to the other sports.
Well, I've heard football players beg their association to get like the basketball. Every free agent day in the summertime, when free agents start signing these ridiculous contracts in the NBA, Pat McAfee used to, and others, be like, hey, let's go, Union. What are we doing? We're so far behind. But to suggest exaggerating injuries is just, it's stupid beyond anything you're going to hear anybody say. It just is.
Well, and
it just is.
It shows you the attention to detail when it comes to actually negotiations at the table with ownership, with the National Football League on behalf of the Players Association. They're holding a Zoom call right before training camp, after the deadline for contract extensions for anyone that was tagged for a long-term extension. They're doing all of this thrown together and then acting like they're trying to come up with a plan, only to find out, oh, yeah, we have no recourse here. We either play for the franchise tag or we don't. And in the Giants' case, I mean, what they did is very unusual. I mean, you have to go back to like 2005, 2006 to find a case where you had a player under the tag like this, and they give him guaranteed money up front on the one-year deal just to get him into camp. Because right now, Barkley could have set out, Dan, and he wasn't under contract. He didn't sign the franchise tag, tender, so he wasn't going to get fined $50,000 per day if he missed. That's not much leverage because, again, he's only going to get paid starting week 1. But the Giants gave him money up front to show up because they had momentum last year. He played well in week 1 and got things going. And then Daniel Jones also played well around him, which he's done throughout his career when Barkley's been on the field. They need to keep that going. Barkley's crucial to what they need and what they do. And that's why they did something very unusual, which is not use just say, take the 10 or sit out and be Le'Veon Bell. They said, hey, we need you here. We need to continue what we're doing momentum-wise, and let's not create a bigger distraction than we absolutely have to if you're going to show up in September anyway.
Will Levis, we're all excited here about Anthony Richardson. Crystal ball time. Will Levis or Anthony Richardson better NFL career?
I'm taking the higher ceiling of Anthony Richardson. That's where I would place my money right now. You know, we've been talking about it prior to the draft. I told Will Levis to his face. I mean, I wasn't high on the pick. And he joked with me. He said, not many have been high on this selection. Trust me, I've got plenty of people talking crap to me throughout the draft. He had a good sense of humor about it. I like him, just one-on-one interaction. I didn't see what I needed to see in the SEC from Will Levis. I didn't see much of anything from Anthony Richardson. And maybe I should put my money more on what I've seen versus what I haven't. But the athleticism is through the roof for Richardson. I just hope that they, put some other weapons around him. They've had 2 back-to-back off seasons now where they've had money to spend, and they just don't go out and do that. That's not their philosophy in Indy. They need to put more talent around him than what they have. I know that, and hopefully the offensive line holds up better for him than what it did last year. It's going to take some time, though. Both of these guys are raw, and Levis is in a better situation currently because he gets to sit and watch. Right now, he's got to beat out Malik Willis, which I think he'll do in camp and be the number 2. But, Dan, this is a hurry up and wait scenario for Levis. Meanwhile, with Anthony Richardson, he's got to take his lumps now. It sounds like he's going to be the guy.
Yeah, there was a report the other day that, Gardner Minshew is going to trade first team snaps with Anthony Richardson, and there's no, unless Anthony Richardson just can't play, period, right now. He's going to be the starter. I mean, they can make up whatever they want, and Minshew's the perfect guy. They're friends. They work out together.
I thought Irsay said he was going to start.
Come on. I mean,
Did Irsay not say this back in May or June?
Well, Jimmy Irsay said, I'm going to leave it to Steichen, but the way Jimmy Irsay said it, you got the feeling that, hey, look, Steichen, start this guy.
Right.
Right?
This is a locker room thing too, right? Like you want the rookie to come in and earn it. And Minshew's going to come off the bench and do some things, and he can win a game or two. But we saw that in Jacksonville, the Minshew mania. The long-term play is Richardson. You draft him at 4. They should put him in now based on their situation and gear up for what should be a long career on their franchise quarterback. It's not Gardner Minshew as the franchise quarterback. I'd go ahead and start the clock if I'm Indy. And a brand-new head coach, young, offensive-minded head coach, 10 days in, behind-the-scenes footage, 10 days after taking the job, he's already talking with Chris Ballard about Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson's going to be the starter.
Yeah, that's what, unless he's just such a wreck, unless he's just wow.
Yes.
All right, we can't do this. The SEC media days happened. Vanderbilt got some votes for first place. Feinbaum is pissed. Yeah. He wants credentials pulled. You can't have it. On the surface, it does seem like that was kind of a joke. Is Florida ever going to be back to being Florida?
I don't know. Here's the thing. They have a recruiting hotbed there. And the Florida schools right now are an afterthought, all of them, in terms of where they stand in the pecking order for Power 5 college football and the haves and the have-nots and the collectives, right? The money. Florida should be much better. And Florida's the reason why the collectives got together over the last month or so, and they're trying to come up with a framework of how to handle the situation and not have it happen like we saw with Jane Rashada at Florida, where they get an offer and there's egg on their face when they pull the offer from the booster and the collective. That's what it comes down to. Is Florida's going to be the Florida Gators of old, they've got to jump up into that upper echelon of name, image, and likeness. And you mentioned Anthony Richardson. If Anthony Richardson takes the rookie season by storm, what does that say for the coaching staff at Florida? And it's not – Dan Mullen also passed over Richardson for a time. And it looked like Richardson was the better option than what Mullen chose to do. So it's a head-scratcher on why they didn't play the more athletic QB. He's extremely young. But now we get to see, a situation where Florida's right in the middle. There's not much expectation. And the fan base that eats their own. It's the SEC. Practically every fan base will do that and declare heads to roll if you don't win or win enough. But the expectations aren't high at Florida. It's not if you lose, it's how you lose. And they can't lose big to some of their biggest rivals.
You been following any of this Northwestern football stuff? I know the volleyball coach just got involved. Look, I didn't play football, but I've been in locker rooms my whole life. Those Northwestern players are just some weird dudes, is the way I'm coming out with this. Some weird guys.
I only played in high school. We weren't taking naked snaps, under center and going through the car wash or whatever they were calling it in the shower. The thing to me, Dan, is this goes back to like 2005, 2006, where at some point, I think in the average player's locker room, if you just think back, if you played in any sport, over a 15-year period, doesn't someone step up and kick someone's ass over that?
Right.
And this was an offense. Isn't there some alpha that comes in as a freshman and throw fists over something like that? Just absolutely not. That's the thing, is how long it went on. And Fitzgerald can say he didn't know. In this day and age, I don't know any coach that isn't paranoid about injuries getting out, about what the player did the night before with his girlfriend, if the breakup was okay, if he's back together with his ex, whatever. Did the other girlfriend find out about the girl he's seeing on the side? They've got these people that go into the locker room. It doesn't have to be the head coach or the coaching staff. They have managers. They have trainers. They have people, eyes and ears, boots on the ground, that would have seen things taking place that allegedly took place. So to say he didn't know, there's no way he didn't know something was going on based on how paranoid every coach is across the country in regards to football. It is flipped to where there used to be open practices. Now it's a team-by-team basis on what you can and can't see media-wise because they think everyone's spying on them. Coaches are spying on the locker room. NFL players don't take Ubers because they think the NFL and the front offices are looking to see where they are and what time they're leaving bars and where they're going and who with and where they dropped off and then where they picked up. They're paranoid about that because they're looking in on that information. So, yeah, he knew something was going on. I'm not that naive. And for it to go on that long is, I mean, we haven't heard a single player's name that was involved in the actual hazing, only those who allege they were hazed. I haven't seen a name there, and as far as coaches, we've only heard position coaches, not actual coaches' names. It's a peculiar deal where no one's naming names; they're just naming what happened. And I'm still waiting to hear someone name someone that stepped up and did something about it behind the scenes. But regardless of coaches, staff, university, where's the leadership in the locker room that didn't hop in the shower butt naked and enjoy something like this, which is just weird and odd and peculiar. Where's the other group that looks around and goes, what the hell is going on in here, and say something about it?
Hazing is illegal in the great state of Illinois. This is going to get interesting.
By the way, if this is a true culture issue, the players that were there last year, potentially the last 2 or 3 years, they're still there. There's still players there that were in that locker room where all of this allegedly took place from wherever this got out with the paper. The player that was no longer there was like 21 or 22, 2021-22 season. So, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. There are several players in there that were a part of this. That's the next. Again, no names have been mentioned, but Northwestern's about to go to Big Ten Media Days with 3 players and their interim head coach, and all they're going to be asked about is this.
I'm really, really, really hoping that I've known the Skronsky family forever. Peter Skronsky's uncle was a good friend of mine in college.
Oh,
Steve
yeah, that's right.
Skronsky,
Yeah.
the father. Yeah, and I'm really hoping that his name does not pop up because I don't know his dad. I know his uncle. I've met his dad. I know his uncle and certainly his grandfather, legendary NFL player. I really hope that his name doesn't pop up in this. I really do.
Yeah, and
I feel like everybody's name is going to pop up in this if you're a lineman.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's to a point now where, and this sounds odd, Pat Fitzgerald being fired when he did, when he was. He's not going to Big Ten Media Days. He's not going to face the media's questions. He's not on some unpaid leave where he's got to go on and do some interview and discuss things if he comes back. The former players, like Skronsky and others, are going to answer more questions about it than Pat Fitzgerald will publicly. That's unfortunate, especially absolutely if the player that is having to answer for it had absolutely nothing to do. A lot of the players that have spoken publicly have backed the coaching staff more than the players who have not. And I would suspect that Skronsky would do the same thing.
Yeah, and I've said this. I don't give a damn whether Pat Fitzgerald's a great guy, but the fact of the matter is this happened under his watch, so I could give a rat's ass, whether he's a good guy, great guy. Hey, last thing before I let you go. Is there, in your mind, is there any interest at all in this women's soccer thing going on? Apparently crowds are up. I just saw that. Crowds are bigger. TV ratings are great. People do have interest. I have no interest. Are you interested in this?
I'm not watching. I don't blame those who do. I think it's dumb to, say that you shouldn't root for the United States because you're against certain people on that team, on our team.
Right.
I think that's idiotic. And I'm not going to let someone's beliefs or freedom of speech impact my enjoyment of sport or my love of the country and wanting to, beat Vietnam this past weekend. I didn't turn the game on. I'm not watching yet. But, yeah, if they go for the three-peat, I'll tune in. They had 11 million viewers, I believe, is what I saw Fox put out on a tweet. Mulville, I think, put that out, Dan. Chad brought that to the show yesterday on Hot Mic. Point being, people are tuning in because it's the best players in the world that are playing for us, that are representing us and dominating. They have been absolutely dominant the last two, and they're going for the unprecedented three-peat here. So, yeah, I'm hoping the United States wins the World Cup. And whenever it actually gets down to the true competition, I'll be tuning in. Right now, but Netherlands, I think they play Wednesday. They play tomorrow. Yeah, wake me up. It's kind of like the NBA playoffs. Wake me up in the conference finals. I'll be tuning in, but not yet.
I agree. No, I agree. Thanks, my friend. Have a great day. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Dan. Always enjoy it.
There it is, Hot Mike, Hutton and Withrow, every day, 3 o'clock Eastern Time, 2 o'clock Central. Fantastic, fantastic show. I'm honored to be on it, usually on Wednesdays. Colin Kaepernick worked out with a bunch of NFL players. We got a video. Nike is trying to spew more Colin Kaepernick propaganda. Yay, rock, go fight, win, Cap. Let's have a look. What's Cap got to say? What's Cap got going? Let's see. Oh, the world headquarters.
Man, he looks great. Looks good. Arm looks strong. He got a rocket of an arm. Look at that, man. He got about a good 6 years left. The arm's still intact. Strong arm. Deep ball's very nice. And he's still capped now. Still got it to him.
Cap got a real racket for an arm, man, so it was different. Real good ball placement. Hey, it's easy when you got a quarterback that's been through it. So he make it easy for it.
Good work. Cap was out there throwing darts. See, it looked smooth. So it was a great day.
Okay. All right. I lost the audio. I assume it's still going, or am I talking? I don't know. But I'll tell you what I've seen. I've seen a lot of horseshit throws. I'm just going to tell you, I saw a lot of bad throws. You guys can say you saw a lot of good throws. I'm seeing balls floating. I'm seeing balls. Look, NFL, you got to put it here if it's supposed to be here, and there's nobody rushing him. He wasn't that good when he played. I love this. I love that look, here's the deal. You get all these Nike athletes, right? You're paying them, and everybody wants to be a Nike athlete because everybody thinks they're going to be the next Michael Jordan. Okay, great. You say, look, fellas, we're going to come out here. We're going to support Cap because everybody's righteous, right? Okay, right, great. Yay, Rod, go fight, win. So everybody's going to come out there. I'll tell you what I saw. I saw balls on the wrong side. I saw the one that they just threw to the corner of the end zone floating. Don't give me this crap. The dude wasn't any good 8 years ago. He was one of the worst quarterbacks in the league 8 years ago. And all they want to do is throw this at us because the guy took a knee and he has an afro. All right. Yay, Rob, go fight, win. Yeah, I got to tell you, I guarantee you, I promise you, my peeps in the NFL are laughing at that. I guarantee you that's one of the funniest things you'll ever see. If you ever want to see propaganda, there it is right there. And when I say there it is, there it freaking is. I mean, it is right there in front of you. Hey, man, come on out. We got to get you Cap. You do? Oh, okay. All right. I'm going to give you my take on Barbie. I'm going to give you my take. I don't know where it is in the rundown, but I want to give my take on Barbie. Here is my take on Barbie. You ready? I love it. I absolutely love Barbie. I love the fact that Barbie has people insane. I do. I'm going to tell you something. Yeah, it's woke. Yeah, it divides the country. But let me explain to you the reason you make a movie. You make a movie and you put it in theaters. I'm not talking about a documentary. I'm not talking about a real life drama. I'm not talking about real crimes. I'm talking about a fantasy movie. You make a movie to get asses in the seats. That's why you make movies. That's why stars are paid a ton. That's why Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible. My friend, my boss, Gary, is going to go watch it this weekend. And let me tell you something, Oppenheimer and Barbie put booties in the seats. They did. I'm a girl dad. I'm playing golf Friday. Round's over. We're settling up. I'm having a beer. Say, hey, man, one of my buddies, what you got going tonight? He goes, man. He goes, my daughters, I already got the text. It's about 5 o'clock. They're dressed up. We're having a Barbie pregame party. They're like 6 and 8. Then we're going dressed up to the Barbie movie, and it's going to be a great night. I told him, I go, man, I would have loved that with my daughter. I would have absolutely thought that was the greatest night ever. I took my daughter and her friends to see the Justin Bieber movie, and it was fantastic. It was one of the great nights that I remember with my daughter and her friends. Tremendous night. I don't care if Barbie and Ken are woke. Everything can't be canceled. Everything can't be dissected. Everything can't be, it's woke, it's terrible, it's this, it's great. No, sometimes you just gotta make a movie that's gonna put the booties in the seats. And if you don't like it, God bless you. But if you're a little girl and you get a chance to dress up like your favorite girl, Barbie, you get a chance to wear a princess crown, or you get a chance to wear some pink, or you get a chance to wear a little dress, or you get a chance to have a dinner with mom and dad and your friends and their friends' parents, and it's all Barbie, and then you get to go to a movie? Are you kidding me? That is a great night. That is one of the great nights that you're going to have with your daughter, and I am here for it. Look, if you're making a movie about the War of 1812, or you're making a Manson movie, or you're making a Dahmer movie, yeah, great. But this movie is to put booties in the seats. And congratulations, you did. Oppenheimer, you did. The Mission Impossible stuff, you did. You can hate Hollywood. You can think they're disgusting. They are. But this movie, shut up with the wokeness. Shut up with all the other crap. Little girls are loving it. And dads and moms and stepdads and brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and cousins and friends and neighbors all get to enjoy one hell of a night with their daughter, whatever. I'm just telling you. Drives me nuts. Well, it's woke. Woke this. It's a movie, and a movie is designed as a fantasy, and the fantasy is putting booties in the seats and enabling people to have a wonderful, wonderful evening with their child. I'm just telling you. Now Bobby Barack is going to join us. Bobby may have a different take. I don't care. I want everybody to give their own take. People are always on me. Well, you disagree sometimes with Clay Travis and the people at OutKick. Right, they should, shouldn't I? Why should we all think the same? Eventbrite cancels an event protecting women in bathrooms and locker rooms, calls it hateful. I actually used Eventbrite. I got to rethink that. I do. I got to give that some thought. All right, Barbie's woke. Gives a rat. The other thing that I talk about, and this drives me nuts. So, again, I'm going to say this before we go to break. It started out, you had to stand for the anthem in the 70s. Now, a lot of dudes, particularly African Americans, didn't stand. And I used to watch. Then it became, okay, you stand. Then it became, you placed your hand over your heart. And if you didn't, somebody shamed you. And now it's you got to belt out the anthem like you're Frank Sinatra. And if you don't do that, like the women's team didn't apparently do it, or some didn't, then you're a bad person. I'm not going to lie to you. I have been at 1,000 anthems. My favorite anthem is the Ohio State basketball band's anthem. Why? Because it takes about 45 seconds. I daydream during the anthem. Sometimes you had to wear your headset when you were announcing games. All right? When you were announcing games over the headset, sometimes the director would be talking to me and I'd be talking back. Stop with the judging everything that everybody does at the anthem. Sure, stand up. I get it. But if God, he didn't put his hand over his heart. Oh my God, he didn't sing. Oh my God, he was looking around. Oh my God, he was laughing. Oh my God. Just stop with the crap. Stick with meaningful stuff. Man, I don't look nearly as good as I think I do. America's Conscious, Bobby Barack, next.
Cancel culture that we live in, they want you to think you'll be canceled. They want you to be scared of the name calling. But that really is all it is. And it speaks more to their insecurities than it does to yours. I saw people on TikTok, Olivia. I saw people coming for your eyebrows. Is that what they're going to resort to? And you're right. It's because they can't dissuade from your argument, which is actually really powerful, and it should boost your confidence. I think when people can look at a situation and take the negative, such as the backlash you're getting, which does suck. There's no taking away from that. It's not fun. It's not enjoyable. It does take a toll on you. But if you can take that backlash you're getting and ultimately use it to fuel your argument, I wish more people had that same perspective that you have. But what about the positive? Have you received a lot of good feedback? Have you had a lot of doors being open for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the opportunities that I have had are just absolutely incredible. And the support from people like you and all these other speakers who have spoken up about, men in their sports. And the ones that really stick out to me are actually the parents of young girls who are messaging me and saying, I have 2 daughters who are running cross country just like you did. Thank you so much for protecting them. Thank you so much for sticking up for them in their futures. And I'm like, that's why I'm doing this. It's not really for me. It's for all of these other girls, and not even just girls, but for college students, for young men, like all of these people. I want to help them. I mean, America was built on freedom of speech. That's why we are what we are. And colleges are now trying to take that away. And like we said earlier, it's going down a bad path. You don't have to be a great swimmer like you to speak up. You don't have to be the smartest in class to speak up. You don't have to experience this to speak up, because everyone has a voice and we need everyone's voice to back us up now. Like, it's going to be in numbers that we can solve this issue.
Hey, later on, I'm going to give you my 5 best baseball players of all time that I saw. I didn't see Babe Ruth. I didn't see Lou Gehrig. Come on, I didn't see Ty Cobb. Look, I'm old, and I'm not looking as good as I thought. I'm looking a little frumpier. I got to build up the pecs. But all right, I digress. If I'm going to be on TV, then I got to be a narcissist, even more so than I am. Bobby Barack is going to join us as he connects to audio and, of course, video because, well, Bobby Barack is the man. He is America's conscience, and in being America's conscience, he says things that others are completely and totally afraid to say. I do not like how I am looking. We got a lot of weird stuff going on in the world of sports, but I will stand up and I will tell you that I will not have this slander against Northwestern's volleyball coach. You all can. but not me. I guarantee you this will be a one-off. This is a Northwestern volleyball player that's trying to join a lawsuit, probably got coerced into it because she had to run suicides, and that's hazing. Is Bobby with us? I see him up there. I got to have a chat. Bobby is America's conscience. The great Bobby Barack joins. Bobby, you with me? I don't hear Bobby, so I'll just continue talking. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you knew this, but Slam Ball was on ESPN. Lee and I were one of the few people that watched Slam Ball. We were sitting in Wolfie's. We were having a beer the other night and a quesadilla. And next thing you know, Slam Ball was on, and it's an idiotic sport. It had 212,000 viewers, according to different people in the sports media, which made it like 300th. Like 3,768th, like in the world, and nobody was watching it. But that's all right. And if you get a chance, don't watch. It is legitimately stupid. Slam Ball is where you jump around on trampolines. Don't watch. It is stupid. And I suggest to you that it is the dumbest sport on television currently. Scott Rowland and Fred McGriff got inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. I was texting with Scott Rowland, and I told him congratulations. I was not smart enough at Indiana to recruit Scott Rowland. Scott Rowland actually signed to play baseball and basketball at the University of Georgia, I do believe. Scott Rowland was brought to our practice at Indiana by his high school coach, Ken Schulteis. We had recruited his teammate, Michael Lewis, who is now the head coach at Ball State. And Scott Rowland, I remember Scott sitting in the stands with Schulteis. We were not smart enough. Welcome to the Hall of Fame, Fred McGriff and Scott Rowland. I'm not going to lie to you. I would never take anybody out of the Hall of Fame. I wasn't sure those two guys would get into the Hall of Fame. They were certainly great leaders. They were certainly fantastic players. But I'm not up on, I don't know, who should or shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. And before you say somebody shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, make damn sure you pay attention. Scott Rowland was a longtime Gold Glove winner. Scott Rowland and Fred McGriff were terrific players. But man, oh man, a lot of people just whining about whether or not those two should have gotten in. Michael Jordan sold his team. Michael Jordan's sale of the Charlotte Hornets has gone through. Now, I hear from people, including some friends of mine, well, Michael Jordan wasn't a very good owner. Michael Jordan was not very good. Well, really? All right. I guess Michael Jordan wasn't very good. He was there for 13 years. The only guy that voted against, it was 29-1. The only guy that voted against was James Dolan. James Dolan probably figured, we are the freaking Knicks. The only team we can really beat is the Hornets, and we want Jordan there. Now, Jordan paid $275 million for majority stake. He paid $275 million for this bad boy and sold it for over $3 billion. $3 billion in valuation. That's what it is worth. You can say whatever you want about Michael Jordan. You can say that he was a bad owner because, his star player, Miles Bridges, fought with his wife. His other star player, LaMelo Ball, talks like this, man. He's an idiot. He's trying to be cool as opposed to being a baller. And that's his fault for drafting both. Look, any team that puts Miles Bridges as your star, you deserve to get fired as an owner. Because I got two words for Miles Bridges: no game. No game. I said it before. I'll say it again. I will not stop saying it. Miles Bridges has no game. Now, he can shoot the ball. Okay, I guess that's his game, and he can dunk. All right, but you know what I'm talking about with game. So before you whine about Michael Jordan, understand he paid $275 and sold it for $3 billion. I don't know about you guys, but there's a lot of people in this world that would be saying, hey, give me that action today, tomorrow, or the next day. I'm just saying. Pretty smart. I don't know what's true. I don't know what's not true, and I'm not sure that I care. But we all kind of care what Tom Brady is doing, don't we? Don't we all kind of give a rat's? Like, aren't we all in certain ways like, hey, Tom Brady is going to date who? Who is the next in Tom Brady's lineage of hot women. Tom Brady must be some kind of D-bag, though. No one wants to say it, but I will. So Tom Brady leaves his first wife, Moynihan, when she's knocked up with Jack. I guess that's his son. And now, even though he's Tom freaking Brady, the looks, the money, the health, guess what? His next wife divorces him. And we can say it's about football, but we all know it's not about football. Of course it's not about football. It can't be about football. So now Tom Brady is dating some woman that had gotten knocked up by Bradley Cooper. She's a Russian supermodel. Tom Brady, how many divorces? Is he going to be a Gabor? Is he going to be Elizabeth Taylor? Look up the references. For those of you that don't know the references, look them up and you'll see what I'm talking about. Like, is Tom Brady so weird that he's going to have like 5 or 6 divorces? I got one, and I don't foresee, unless the devil really grabs a hold of me or her, I don't see getting another divorce. At least I hope not. But is Tom Brady that weird? I mean, women line up to hang with Tom Brady. He's got a Russian supermodel going. Do I have pits? I don't think I have pits. Let me see. No, I got no pits. Anyway, come on. Bobby Barack joins us. Hey, Bobby, I think Tom Brady's a weird dude. I just do. What's wrong with Tom Brady?
Yeah, Dan, I'm with you. And sorry about the troubles here. I still can't see you. I don't know if you can see me, but I think we're here now so we can chat. That's always good. But yeah, I'm with you. Although I will say this. Anybody who's uber successful is a bit off the rocker, right? Like, I've been reading a lot about John Lennon. Strange guy, brilliant musician. Elton John, same thing. Kanye West, all-time brilliant rapper, very odd dude. Aaron Rodgers right now, one of the most talented quarterbacks ever, really a strange guy. I don't know if anybody wants to go have a beer with Aaron Rodgers. So it doesn't surprise me that Tom Brady is a bit bizarre, quirky, and dare I say strange.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I mean, look, I mean, the dude is just everything a woman, I guess, I'm being told, should want in a man, blah, 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 blah. And yet the dude can't stay married, and now he's dating supermodels. I digress. Hey, what's going on here with Eventbrite? Why is it so difficult for normal human beings to say, look, there's a woman's bathroom, there's a dude's bathroom, those two shan't not mix? What is the problem here with Eventbrite?
Yeah, I have the same question, and I contacted Eventbrite last week asking them, hey, what is wrong with an event that keeps men out of female locker rooms and bathrooms? Unfortunately, they did not respond. The PR and spokesperson did not respond to me or give me a comment, and I was just asking why, and I wasn't criticizing them per se. I wanted to know, what is wrong with keeping women's bathrooms female? Because I really don't know. I mean, to me, that seems obvious. It seems like common sense. At any other time in history, that would just be standard. I mean, don't let a guy into a female bathroom. Don't let a female into a male's bathroom. Those have always been the rules, at least as far as I know them. But all of a sudden now it's controversial to do that. So Eventbrite took down that event. I think it was called Protecting Women of Austin, or something along those lines. Eventbrite pulled themselves out of it. They disassociated because, according to their email to the event, it's hateful. Really? What's hateful about that? So I sought to find out. Eventbrite wouldn't tell me. So we're just left speculating why that is controversial and quote-unquote hateful. I mean, obviously the reason is political. Eventbrite, like so many U.S. organizations and companies, have pin themselves to one side of the culture war, the side that they believe will be on the right side of history, the side that they believe will protect them from the mob, the side that they believe comes with the most political, social, and financial status. That's what this boils down to. Eventbrite didn't respond to me or respond to OutKick because they couldn't actually justify their response, so they just stayed silent and did it, and hopefully no one would push them too hard. But I'm not going to just stop with this story. I plan to follow up with Eventbrite actually today and see, hey, do you have a comment? Do you plan to reverse course? Can you please explain to me why this event is hateful?
Yeah, I don't understand. Everything's hateful. Don't you think the hateful
Right.
is the default language right now?
Oh, yeah. And it's very similar to the word racist or bigoted or now transphobic or anti-LGBTQIA+, however many letters and symbols it goes now. We use these words like a second grader uses the word stupid, right? Like when you're in second grade, you don't like the person sitting next to you, you say, you're stupid. Well, why am I stupid? Well, because I just don't like you. That's exactly what's happening now. I mean, anything that somebody says or does that people don't like, they say it's hateful, it's bigoted, it's dangerous, it's a threat to democracy. These labels don't mean anything. And honestly, all they're doing is diminishing the value of these words. I mean, Dan, 10 years ago, if somebody said, hey, this person is hateful or this person is a racist, I would take it seriously and consider, is this person hateful or is this person a racist? Now I hear those words and I just scoff at them and roll my eyes because they're so overused and weaponized.
And you know what? It used to be mortified, and it's not that long ago when somebody would disagree with me and call me racist. Now I just laugh at it and go, okay. I mean, seriously. I mean, it's like if I don't get called racist or some kind of phobic before breakfast and I'm not doing my job. I agree with you. And I remember not too long ago, and I really believe this, it wasn't too long ago that people were warning us about this, Bobby. People were saying, hey, don't be overusing these words because they lose meaning. And I think they have right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've never been someone who really worried about what people said about me, but I'm sure at one time I'd be called those words and I'd be like, wait a minute, me? Why do you think of these things? Can we talk about it? But now, I mean, it happens pretty much every day on social media and it just doesn't mean anything. Again, it's just like being called stupid or dumb. Like you just don't really care, right? Because it's so overused and it's everywhere. And there was a report, I believe, from Fox News about how many times the New York Times and Washington Post have used the word racist and white supremacist over the past year, and it's up like 75-100% from 5 years ago. I mean, are people really becoming more bigoted, more dangerous, more hateful, more racist, or are we just using those words more? I mean, based on the evidence, it's the latter. People are not more racist and bigoted. It's just now those words are part of the vocabulary of journalists and groups like Eventbrite and politicians. It's really nauseating because those words used to have value. They used to mean something. They used to be daunting labels. Now they're just kind of, whatever, to call me that again.
Right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. We got a murder going on I always say it wrong, Gilgo Beach or Gilgo Beach. It's one of the weirdest stories ever, man.
Yeah, you got it right. At Gilgo Beach. I was very familiar. I am very familiar with this case. 2020, during the pandemic, when we were all hunkered down, especially here in Michigan, it seemed like we were hunkered down forever. Netflix had a film called Lost Girls based on the Gilgo killer, or Long Island serial killer, as I've come to call him. And I've read about it ever since. It really is a bizarre case. You can tell me which direction we want to go in, but I mean, the big story here is the police work. It's really fascinating. So a couple of years ago, really about a year and a half ago, a pimp had spoken to a special task force and said, one of the women that I was pimping out, we were running this ruse where the guy would pay to come be with the woman and he'd pretend to be an angry boyfriend and chase him out. Well, they tried this with the suspect now, but the suspect called the woman the day later, followed up, and this pimp said, hey, he drives this really rare vehicle, a first-generation Chevy Avalanche. Well, that piece of evidence was buried in the files of evidence for a few years now, and the new detective on the case was re-looking over it and noticed that, and it wasn't followed up on. So he zeroed in on that Chevy Avalanche and was able to run a report to see how many people in Long Island were registered to that first generation Chevy Avalanche. And it happened to only be one person, Rex Heuerman, who also matched the description of what the pimp said. And that was a 6'4" ogre. He looked exactly like that. So they went back to the DNA file and found a female hair on one of the victims. Well, the female hair matched Rex Heuermann's wife. So come full circle, they had an undercover agent pick up the trash outside his Manhattan office. They surveyed the DNA in the bag. They found a discarded pizza crust that he had eaten. They found his DNA on that pizza crust, and they went from there and arrested him 2 weeks ago. And as of now, he's been charged for 3 out of the 4 Gilgo 4 murders, but is the main suspect in the 4th case, which I do expect them to charge him for here shortly.
Bobby, when I read about this, it seems so easy to catch this guy. As you said, I mean, the car was registered only to him. The type of car was only registered to him. And then once you got that, it's all downhill from there. And this is a really big deal. And this dude was living his life as like, I don't know if he was a respected guy in the community, but he was a man in the community with a family. It's really fascinating.
Yeah, and you go back to the Golden State Killer. Similarly, they found him from a discarded Q-tip, I believe. He was just an old retired police officer watching TV, taking a daytime snooze, and they arrested him. The BTK killer, a little bit different because he was a creepy man who did a lot of horrific stuff, but he was a local patrol officer who I think picked up like stray cats and dogs, and they found him. So very similar. Now, look, there has been a few cases that we haven't been able to solve. The Long Island Killer was one of them. The Zodiac Killer is another. And, of course, the John Benet Ramsey case and Jimmy Hoffa's whereabouts. So we got one of them. The other 3, I'm not real confident we ever find the answer. John Benet's case, I think, is still possible depending on who is responsible for that little girl's death. At this point, I'm not real optimistic we ever find out what happened to Hoffa. I'd put it at a 5 to 10% chance we ever find out the identity behind the Zodiac Killer.
I got to tell you, one time my dad, my brother, and I were playing golf in Florida. We were on a little vacation, and the starter at the golf course said, "Hey, don't hit into those guys ahead of you because they are reputed to have been involved in the disappearance of Jimmy Hoffa." We weren't going around them, you know what I mean? Because that Bobby, that Hoffa thing has confounded. And, you know, I know the mob controlled a lot of stuff. I get it, but, man, it's different times. And there is no movement on that. The Hoffa thing just, it fascinates me to no end. It really does.
Oh, yeah, me too. And particularly living here in Michigan, you hear so many old tales about where he is. Is he in a crematorium? Right. Is he buried under the cement, right? When you walk in that parking lot in Detroit, is maybe he under there? You just don't know. And this is such interest, I guess, everywhere, but particularly here in Michigan. I know Illinois has a lot of interest in it too. Yeah, it's fascinating. And, you know, you start looking more into this stuff. And maybe the most interesting one is what happened to JFK. You know, they tell us one thing happened, but we don't know. I mean, why are those documents not public? You know, we think about it, whoever was responsible for JFK is long gone at this point. So we're obviously not protecting a person. We're likely protecting an institution, which you can take that any way you want. I mean, I have my thoughts about why it's pretty obvious who they're protecting and all that. But I mean, so much of this stuff, you just have to wonder, where are the answers? Who knows the answers? And why don't we know the answers? And you go back to each one, the Zodiac, Hoffa, John Benet, JFK. A lot of it's you become pretty skeptical about the process, the reporting on it, and what really happened. I mean, I don't take anybody for their word on what happened in any of those 4 cases, because the deeper you dive, the more questions you have.
All right, I have said I don't care. A purpose of a movie, particularly a fantasy movie, is to put asses in the seats. The Barbie movie is doing that. Barbie and Oppenheimer had a wonderful weekend, 4th largest ever. I know some people are mad. I know some people aren't. I wish my daughter was still little and I would dress up like Ken and she would dress up like Barbie and we'd go to the movies. But this thing is dividing people, Bobby.
It is, and what's surprising is that when you read articles about it, it would seem that Barbie would appeal more to liberal viewers, but that's not true. Fox News put up a map yesterday, and Barbie's actually more popular than Oppenheimer in red states, particularly the South, like Florida, Oklahoma, Texas. I don't know if you guys have the map, but that surprised me because what I've heard and spoken to people on the right who disagrees with this movie. But I'm with you, Dan. I don't really care how politically infested or woke Barbie is. I think people that have my views have pretty much always known movies don't cater to me. So I've been able to distance myself from it. Is it a good movie or not is mostly all I care about. I mean, some of my favorite movies probably have underlying political messages with which I disagree. It doesn't really make me not like it. There's obviously a line, like when they shove it down your throat and tell you you're bad, you must atone. I mean, that stuff is off-putting, but I really don't care. Like when I hear a movie's left wing or right wing, it doesn't really move me either way. I tend to go see movies with actors or actresses that I like or a story that I find interesting. So I'm totally with you. Whatever. If Barbie is pushing a feminist agenda, whatever. Is the movie good? Is it not good? Is it worth watching or is it not worth watching? As long as you can answer those two things, the rest of it I just dismiss.
I agree. Like, look, if you put a purpose of a movie is to put asses in seats, right? I mean, It's like anything else. And if it does now, the purpose of a documentary or a true life crime story, okay, that's different, right? I get it. But this is a fantasy movie about a doll, for crying out loud. I can't get worked up about it, Bobby. I just can't, man. I can't do it. Can't do it.
Yeah, same here. And
can't do it.
Same here. And I had this conversation with Tudor Dixon, who I believe has been on your show, and I've gotten to know. The right, a lot of times, is losing the culture war because they tend to put their focus on areas that don't matter, like Barbie. There's so many more consequential factors in American culture that I think the right shies away from because they're afraid where Barbie becomes an easy target, but it's not working. You look at who's going to see, it's mostly red states. So the outrage hasn't worked. And also I think it's easily dismissed, like, oh, they're so mad about Barbie, when I really think they should be focusing on much more dire issues like the racial reckoning and what's going on with the genital mutilation among young kids, some of the crime and lack of prosecution. That's where the right needs to fight back, not a movie about a doll who, I don't know, I mean, who cares, right? It doesn't really matter. It might be a fun topic online, but I'm with you. I have not seen the movie because I don't have kids and I didn't play with Barbie. I don't personally have any interest in seeing it. Maybe if somebody else wants to go, I will go with them. But I didn't not see it because of the political messaging that I heard of. I didn't go see it because I'm not a Barbie fan. But there's so many movies that have those underlying messages, again, that do not align with me, but I still saw them. I enjoyed some of them. At the end of the day, you watch a movie for a distraction, whether it interests you or not. The rest of the stuff is a bit overblown.
All right, last thing. Coincidence or I think not? The chef of Barack Obama drowned. The chef of Hillary Clinton drowned. Coincidence or I think not?
So I've become more and more conspiratorial, Dan. I try to ground myself. So for the sake of this argument, I'll say this. I'll say coincidence, but I'm on the border here because when I first saw that last night about 8 o'clock, I sent it to a friend and I said, what do you know here? And they sent me back some articles. This is a common thread here. So look, I don't want to be too conspiratorial because it's going to lead you down some dark places. It's only 10:30. I don't want to go down that route quite yet. So I'll say coincidence. But if somebody has any evidence, I'm not just going to shrug it off. I'm willing to listen because, like I said, I'm right on the border here.
I'm just saying, like, a lot of people die around the Clintons. You know what I mean? I don't know.
They do.
I'm just, yeah. So you're on the fence. You're not giving me a definite. You're giving me a definite maybe.
Yeah, I'll say this. The one thing that I've learned is coincidences tend not to exist, right? Like whenever you say, oh, it's just a coincidence that your wife is hanging out with just caught up with your best friend at the coffee shop, these things tend not to turn out to be coincidences. So, yeah, I mean, if somebody has any evidence or speculation or wants to talk to me, I'm open, because whenever somebody dies politically, they're usually not too far from the Clintons, right? I mean, how many of these cases, I know that this one's the Obamas, but it seems to be adding up where you have to raise your eyebrows and ask questions. Hey, what's going on here? Why, if you get to know these people, do you end up dead?
I was just told to be careful with this topic, so I'm going to end it with that right there. Thanks, Bobby. I appreciate you. Bobby.
Hey, Dan, talk soon.
You. Yeah, I'm going to be careful with the topic. Hey, news on Bronny James. I don't know if this is true or not, but I just read this, and I've not seen this anywhere. I assume this would be big news. We'll be right back.
Welcome into OutKick, the show. I am Clay Travis, your fearless leader. I am going to continue to argue that sports is one of the great unifying forces in all of American life. ESPN is a sinking ship. Democrats are now the party of the white, woke college graduate.
We live in a land of participation trophies.
You gotta lean into the turns. You really gotta lean into the turns.
When Leah Thomas walked in that first day, it got silent, and every girl was uncomfortable.
Very difficult to go back-to-back years in the NFL with the number 1 overall pick.
I've been out of LA long enough to have forgotten that libs, no matter how ridiculous the scenario, are gonna lib. Another week of inflation, another week with Biden with COVID, and another set of losers to crown. People don't watch the WNBA on TV, in person, on a plane, on a train, on a bus, or on purpose.
The scary thing, Tommy, is in the history of this government, I've never seen them give anything back that they've taken.
Oh no, they never do.
And they won't.
We've seen coaches throw water bottles. We've seen coaches act like idiots. We've seen coaches slap other coaches. But I think if you're involved in carjacking, you're inherently a rotten human being. The level of stupid that sometimes gets on our YouTube chat just gives me a headache. You're born a male, play with males. You're born a female, play with females. Don't at me about it, people.
I believe this person is the greatest player anybody alive will ever see. How can you hate Derek Jeter? A guy's on-base percentage tells me his batting eye, and a guy's slugging percentage tells me if he's a threat. That's the kind of guy that throws a no-hitter, that effectively wild guy.
Bad news. LeBron James' son, Bronny James, suffered a, quote, cardiac episode while working out at USC. Bronny James committed to USC. He's no longer in ICU. And this is a developing story. TMZ just put it out, and obviously now when TMZ puts it out, It's all over the place. And you know what? Too young. And this is interesting. This I'm telling you, LeBron James and his wife have sent a statement basically saying, hey, please honor our privacy. But Bronny James yesterday, I'll go through the entire thing with you. Yesterday while working out, while practicing, Bronny James suffered a cardiac arrest. Medical staff was able to treat Bronny, take him to the hospital. He is now in stable condition, no longer in ICU. We ask for respect and privacy for the James family. We'll update media when there is more information. LeBron and Savannah wish to publicly send their deepest thanks and appreciation to the USC medical and athletic staff for their incredible work and dedication to the safety of their athletes. It's horrible to hear. But apparently he is now in stable condition and no longer in ICU. I cannot, you know me, you know how I feel about kids, man, and I hate when any kids have any problems of this nature. Bronny James should be getting ready, and he was getting ready for his freshman year at USC, where he's going to play basketball under Andy Enfeld and hopefully have a great career there, leading to playing with his dad. We'll see what happens. I have no speculation on this other than to read for you what happened. But that's the thing. You go there in the summer and you go work out. You work out with your team. Teams can have workouts with incoming players and the team. And apparently Bronny James was there. From the sounds of it, he was working out, and the USC staff, according to LeBron James and his wife, who thanked them, did a fantastic job. We will let you know as more comes out on this, but this is a story that I just hate. I hate it, and I hate it more. I don't care about LeBron James's politics, his ability as a basketball player. I hate this for a father. It's the scariest thing that you could possibly go through. And prayers are certainly up for LeBron James and his family. I'm going to give you my top 5 baseball players ever. Now, I'm going to give you my top 5 baseball players because, frankly, my top 5 baseball players are players that I saw. Like, I can't tell you about Ty Cobb. I cannot tell you about Babe Ruth. I cannot tell you about Lou Gehrig or even the greatness of Honus Wagner, other than he's got a fantastic baseball card. But I will tell you this. The one pitcher that I have on this is Greg Maddux. Now, was he the best pitcher I ever saw? I think he was. I think Greg Maddux was. Why was Greg Maddux at number 5 the best pitcher I ever saw? Well, I'll tell you why. Because Greg Maddux is little. Greg Maddux did not throw the baseball 700,000 miles an hour, even when throwing a baseball 700,000 miles an hour didn't even matter. It didn't matter. Like, you didn't have to throw 1,000,000 miles an hour back in the day, but Greg Maddux won 355 games. Greg Maddux had a 3.16 ERA. I'm just going to tell you, to me, now I know a lot of people. I know. Did you know that Greg Maddux finished his career with the Dodgers in 2008? I had no idea. Did you know that Greg Maddux, you're not going to believe this, Greg Maddux won 20 games one time? Greg Maddux in 1995 had one of the great seasons ever, 19-2, 1.63 ERA. I want to say that again, 19-2. Over a 2-year span, Greg Maddux was 35-8. 35-8 with an ERA under 1.6. Greg Maddux has all kinds of different records, like he never had all kind of stupid stuff. Greg Maddux was incredible. Greg Maddux was so good because his control and his ability to locate his pitches wherever he wanted. Greg Maddux would throw the ball here, then here, raise your eye level, get you to foul it off, get you to do it, boom, 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 boom. Greg Maddux, to me, is the guy that pitchers should want to be. He's the Brian Harmon of baseball. If you watch Greg Maddux pitch, if you really watched him pitch, Greg Maddux was the kind of guy that you felt everyone could be. Seriously. He won 16 straight road games. What do you think about that? He was the first pitcher to win 4 consecutive Cy Young Awards. Now, I got to tell you, Greg Maddux, fantastic. I love reading about Greg Maddux. He lives in Vegas. A buddy of mine was teeing off on the first tee at one of these nice golf courses. 2 guys came up, said, hey, man, can we play? Turned out to be Greg Maddux and his brother, and had one of the great times ever. 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 All right. All right, listen to this. Although wins above replacement was not yet in use, later analysis showed that Maddox led all players with a WAR of 9.4. Now, hey, look, I don't know. That's huge. Anyway, Maddox took less money. Maddox did a bunch of things. Maddox is just an overall good guy. All right? Okay. Second, Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson, Mr. October. Now, you could say Reggie Jackson was this, that, or the other. Was he arrogant? Yes. And I like arrogance. If those of you that know me know that I like baseball players to do stuff when? In the postseason. I want you to give me the business in the postseason. I don't need you giving me the business. Like Manny Trio was a great defensive baseball player, and it felt like Manny Trio used to always be hitting 3-something in August or April. Look, I don't know. I don't know. Are there better players? Probably. Roberto Clemente, I didn't see him enough. I saw him. Did I see him enough? Not really. But I got to tell you, man, Reggie Jackson to me, with his 563 home runs. That's pretty good. And if you remember, Reggie Jackson, Bob Welch, playoffs, boom, boom, boom. When you hit 3 home runs in a row in a World Series game, you're on my list, 1977, Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson didn't hit on my wife, which makes me think Reggie Jackson is suspect. Lee was at a Syracuse event with Donovan McNabb's wife and a bunch of very famous women. Reggie Jackson came into the bar kind of hammered. Not real hammered, but kind of hammered. He was hammered, sort of. Sort of, kind of hammered. Well, anyway, he had no interest. What? No, he had no interest. His only interest was in the bartender. Come on! Reggie Jackson was outspoken. Reggie Jackson said he was the straw that stirred the drink. And then you know what Reggie Jackson went and did? He stirred the damn drink. I've said this before. I'll say this again. When I was a kid, my dad was a Yankees fan, and all I know is the Yankees stunk. They were horrible. They were more known for Fritz Peterson and Mike Kekich swapping their wives. Yeah, they swapped wives than they were for winning baseball. Next thing you know, here comes Steinbrenner, and he goes out and gets the 1973 with the Oakland A's World Series MVP in 1977. Reggie Jackson did it. Do you know in World Series, Reggie Jackson had 10 home runs, batted .357, 24 RBIs? Mr. October. I must admit, Steve Garvey said, when Reggie hit his 3rd consecutive home run and I was sure nobody was looking, I applauded in my glove. Reggie Jackson would make movies. Reggie Jackson was a 4-time All-Star. Get out of here. He was the MVP of the league in 1973. He led it in home runs, runs scored, RBIs. Next thing you know, he led it and led it and led it. Reggie Jackson, I'm a big fan. Look, Pete Rose is number 3. I'll tell you why Pete Rose is number 3. For no other reason than he made me sprint to first base when I got to walk. He did. And he made Jimmy Bistro and I head first dive. And we loved his batting stance. And whenever I was in a slump, which was very rare because I'm in a bunch of baseball Hall of Fames. Yeah, that's right. Baseball, by the way. I used to bat like Rose. I used to crouch down, kind of shorten my stuff up. But Pete Rose is the all-time hit leader, and Pete Rose was a degenerate. Okay, so what? Maybe that's why I liked him. Maybe that's why I liked Reggie Jackson back in the day. I had no use for Steve Garvey and his perfect hair. I had no use for Tom Seaver. I had no use for Jack Nicklaus and his wife. I had none of that. I was always drawn to the degenerates. I was always drawn to the fellas, the guys that just made the world interesting. I know that shocks a lot of you. I know it does, but that's all right. And I remember one time, it was the first time I ever saw a fake rack. I remember when I was in college, I assumed it was a fake rack. My college roommate, a couple of us, went to Cincinnati. And we went to whatever the racetrack is there, Ellis Park or whatever it was. We played golf. We got rained out. We went to the track. Pete Rose comes walking up. And I mean, this lady had a set on her that would stop traffic. And of course, back in the day, you had heard about the mythical fake rack. But this was a blonde, I mean, hair out to here, all the gold. She looked like a player's wife, right? I'm sure it was his wife. I don't know what she was or who she was. But we're sitting there going, hey, that's Pete Rose. And we're also sitting there going, huh, I never seen cans like that before other than in a movie. Turned out, Pete Rose was ahead of his time. He had paid for those, and we appreciated it. Just who I am. Yeah, he's the hit king. He's got all kind of records. And if you didn't think Pete Rose was great, I got nothing for you. Now, right now, that's two white guys. So if in very ESPN fashion, we got to even this up. Numero dos, probably the best player is Barry Bonds. But Barry Bonds cheated. But I got to tell you, Barry Bonds would get one pitch to hit, and he always hit it out. Barry Bonds, according to Jim Leland, who was my friend, I haven't talked to Jim in a long time, and my other friend, Rich Donnelly, who coached third base for Bonds in Pittsburgh, said, look, been around a lot of great players. He's the best. If they say it, I'll go with it. I will. I'll go with it. I'll say he's the best. If he's the best, according to Leland, then he's the best. What can I tell you? But when you're so doped up that your head grows, now I want you to think about this just for a second. Like older women, I read this somewhere, their heads grow. Older dudes' heads grow. Like my wife is rooting for it. She has a pea head. I can palm her head. I don't want my head to grow. I got a size 8. I don't need it to grow. I don't want it to grow. If it grows, I got a serious, serious problem. But the man's head grew. I cannot, I will not, I shall not, ever, ever, ever admit to him being the greatest of all time. I'll put him up there. I will. The greatest of all time that I saw is Hammerin' Hank Aaron. Now, I didn't see Hank Aaron in his total prime, but I saw him enough. I saw him enough that this dude was a 25-year All-Star. I want to say that again. Did you know that Hank Aaron was only the MVP of the league one time? Did you know he only led the NL in home runs 4 times? How about that? He was also a 2-time batting champ. Hank Aaron had 3,771 hits. He had 755 home runs. He had 2,297 runs batted in, an NFL record. 6,856 career bases, an NFL record. 1,477 extra base hits, an NFL record, and only got 97.8% of the votes to go into the Hall of Fame. I got 3 words for you. Mariano Rivera, my ass. That's 4 words. Hank Aaron, here's why I liked Hank Aaron. I wish I had a bat here. I should have brought a prop. Here's my bat. This was always what we were told. Hank Aaron came up batting right-handed, and he was cross-handed until somebody said, hey, do it this way. I can get down with that. In an era where every little kid that's 7 years old has a batting coach, a pitching coach, a psychology coach, and a nutritionist, Hank Aaron came up, at least this was the legend, cross-handed. And I never saw Hank Aaron be anything but cool. I never saw Hank Aaron be anything but classy. I never saw Hank Aaron do anything. And when you look at Hank Aaron, he wasn't built, he wasn't big, but he had unbelievable wrists. Everybody wanted to be Hank Aaron. They did. I wanted to be Hank Aaron. I wanted to be 2 guys, Hank Aaron or Billy Williams. And as a pitcher, I wanted to be Fergie Jenkins. I even pitched like Fergie Jenkins. He had this cool stick your leg out. If you watch Fergie Jenkins pitch, I'm surprised I didn't put Fergie Jenkins and Billy Williams on this list. I'm very surprised. I probably should have. If you ask me the 5 best basketball players of all time, Bob Love from the Chicago Bulls is going to be on it. Don't at me about it either, people. Don't even think about adding me. Don't. That's my list. What's yours? I don't know. I mean, look, I saw Roberto Clemente throw a ball from right field like the third base at Wrigley Field while I was watching on TV. I was like 8 years old. I remember the day Roberto Clemente died. I remember driving on 8094, hearing it on the radio. I did. I remember certain things. I remember telling my mom, and she got really mad at me. I told my mom that Hank Aaron had hit number 714. And then he did it later on in the same game. I think it was 714 or 715. And she got mad, really mad at me. I didn't blame her. She'd get mad we were making fun of her. She would come downstairs when the Bears were playing the Packers, and she would ask us who's winning. We'd say the Bears are playing the Packers. She'd ask us who's winning. We'd say the Vikings. She'd get really mad. My mom's awesome. She is. I'm just telling you. My mom is awesome. Saquon Barkley, I'm going to see if you guys can come up with this quick. Saquon Barkley did exactly what we thought Saquon Barkley was going to do. Saquon Barkley signed a deal. Remember last week we told you he's full of crap. He's not sitting out. Well, Carl Banks is a guy I really like. Carl Banks, to me, is one of the smartest guys from the era of 80s football, if you pay attention. Carl Banks played linebacker on the other side with Lawrence Taylor. It was Harry Carson, Lawrence Taylor, and Carl Banks. Carl Banks was a terrific basketball player. Anyway, Carl Banks said this to Saquon Barkley. I'm saying this to you. Don't be a principled fool. And I say that because you could sit, let me read it to you. And I say that because you could sit at home and nobody's paying the price. The games are going to start on time. Training camp won't stop because you're not there. Come in with your integrity intact. Be enthusiastic. Be angry. You should be angry. See, I made a mistake. When I was a head coach at Indiana, I made a mistake. I was a principled fool. I made these idiots go to class. I made these idiots stop smoking weed. I did. They got mad. We lost games. A friend of mine said, yeah, you were principled. Yay, Rob. But the next coach is going to get a ton of money. The next coach is going to get a bunch of cash. And you're going to be yelling, I was principled in a gym without anybody in it. And that's true. But one thing I can say is I can't live with myself. And I always, ladies and gentlemen, live by the damn mirror. Saquon Barkley, $10 million, you'll be all right. Here's a stunner. Jimmy Graham has signed a 1-year contract to go back to the Saints. You know, guys just can't retire. Just stop. Every single human being that complains about sports would go back in a second. Every single human being that bitches, whines, and moans about being an athlete in the 70s where you didn't, quote, get paid, or the 80s where you didn't, quote, get paid, or the 90s or the 2000s would all go back in a second. This is sort of kind of breaking news. This is how stupid people are. You ready? Before we get to woke-a-dope, this has just been reported. The Northwestern president, guy named S-C-H-I-L-L, Schill, told the student newspaper that he didn't read the full investigative report that included testimony before he suspended Pat Fitzgerald. He only read a summary. That's it. That is it. Honest to God. So this guy is the president. And he didn't even read the report. See, that's the power of the coach on the throne. The coach gets his little mount, and Fitzgerald had his mount. And everybody trusted him, and probably rightfully so externally. He probably did everything right for his coach, for his coaches, for his athletic director, for his administration. He probably did everything right, building up a level of equity and trust that coaches that won enough, that coaches that have been there long enough, and coaches that have an impeccable reputation. See Joe Paterno. So you curry favor with the administration. Yeah, this is a bad deal. Yeah, just give me the summary. Yeah, this doesn't look so good. We're going to suspend him 2 weeks out without pay. He makes a lot of money. Get his lawyer in here. This is what we're going to do. That's the problem with the mount. That's the problem with making these coaches something that they are not. Kingmakers, kings, bigger than the university. This president should be fired for that, but he won't be. This athletic director should be fired, but he won't be. This would have never come to fruition under this athletic director's watch. It wouldn't have. But it has now. And the athletic director won't be fired, the African-American dude that just got there. But he should be gone a long time ago. He should be gone now. He hired the baseball coach. They just fired the baseball coach. Nobody had oversight into the football program. Northwestern's just got some weird dudes. I mean, can we all just say that? I'm just telling you, Northwestern just has weird dudes, and Northwestern needs to eradicate itself from everything Northwestern. The coaches that were there need to be fired. They don't need to work there. The athletic director needs to be gone. The president just got there. I'll give him a pass for now. I'll give him a pass for now. But as more and more comes out, you see what I always tell you. Don't let the coach or the program get too powerful. And if they do get too powerful, make sure somebody is watching the powerful. We see it in government. We see it in local government. We see it in high schools. We see it everywhere. Power corrupts. Money corrupts. Whenever I see a big-time high school coach get into trouble, I always say one of two things. He stole or he sexed. That's it. Power and money corrupt. And it ain't changing. All right. Hey, we got a couple minutes here. Give me a woke-a-dope, will you, please? Honest to God. Now, there's more video of John Kerry getting out of a private jet. I'm not particularly fond of people who fly in private jets to a meeting where they discuss how to take away my cars and want to feed me bugs. But that's just me. I always love but that's just me. It is just you. Look, who the hell wants to listen to Bill Gates flying around in his private jet or John Kerry? I tell you this, show up in a damn horse and buggy and I'll listen to you. I'll listen to you. And then we'll figure it out from there. But don't be landing in the Gulf Stream. Please. What else we got? But that's just me. Y'all should send 87,000 IRS agents to Ukraine. They'll find out a lot of our tax dollars over there. They'll find a lot of our tax. That's so true. Look at Sam Shepard just being cool. What that? Y'all should send 87,000 IRS agents to Ukraine. They'll find a lot of our tax dollars over there. It's true. I'm telling you. I just got a tax thing yesterday. I don't even know why. I don't know. I text my guy, I go, do I owe? Do I get? Have I already paid? I don't know. I don't know nothing. But I know this. I don't want to pay nothing. I don't want to pay nobody a damn thing in taxes when all they're doing is sending them over there. Jeez. All right, what's next? I'd like a Pepsi. We have Coke. Okay, I'll take a gram of that and a Pepsi. This isn't the White House, miss. We can find Obama in a hole in the middle of Afghanistan, Emma Jo Morris said, but we cannot find out whose cocaine it is in the White House. I saw Nikki Haley yesterday talking about that. Nikki Haley said, look, this isn't a heavy traffic area where the coca plant was found. This is only, you're not even when she was there, you're only allowed to bring your next off, meaning your chief of staff. You're not allowed to bring Gary from Veep in. You know what I mean? I've been on a Veep watch the last day and a half. It rained like crazy here. So Lee and I came home, grabbed a glass of wine. We were playing golf, grabbed a glass of wine and sat and watched Veep. You're not allowed to bring people where the coke was found. But we can't find where the coke is found. Come on. Come on, people. What did I say? Freudian slip there, Dan. What did I say? What did I say? Love all the Freudian slips today. Hey, you guys got to help me on the YouTube chat. The YouTube chat was pumping. Otter Creek, you're doing a great job for me. Ryan Mueller, thank you. I hope, Sean Black, I hope your dad got the shirt. I didn't get a chance to put a card in it because I forgot, if you want to know the truth. I have a card that I was going to put in there, but I already sealed it. And I'm like, oh, man. I didn't seal it. Bronny James, it's just now on and around ESPN. What did I give a Freudian slip about? But I ain't mad about it. I'm not mad even a little bit. Hey, thanks to, I could go on with this show. I can't. If other guys, if they didn't have stuff to do, I'd keep going because I want to make this show the best show in the country. Urban Meyer said it best. I can't wait till this show overtakes the nation. So all of you that are on the YouTube chat, if you're on any social media, hit us. We need to make this better. Dead body of Obama staffer found on Obama property. Thoughts and prayers, because that's all I can do. Thoughts and prayers to our friend Dickie Vitale and LeBron James and his family. Look, if you're going to make a stupid crack about LeBron James' son, who, if you're just tuning in, suffered cardiac arrest during a workout at USC, if you're going to make a stupid crack, take him somewhere else. As a father and as a coach, it's the worst thing ever. I had a player one time, Ray Austin. I was making everybody run after practice. We weren't in good enough shape, so we were running suicides. He fell out foaming at the mouth. My assistant, Ernie Ziegler, put a pen in his mouth to stop his tongue. Apparently that's just a myth. I don't know. And then I ran, made a devil with God. As I ran out the door, jumped over a couch, called 911 quickly. I made a deal with God that said, hey, look, if you let this kid live, I swear to you, I will never, ever swear again. Now, he let the kid live, and I didn't. We had a kid die at basketball camp of a cardiac arrest. His parents knew that he had issues, and they did not care. They said, look, he died doing what he loved to do. I said, okay. All right. Oh, I said Obama instead of Osama. Obama bin Laden. Thanks, Ryan Mueller. Y'all have a great afternoon. Bronny James is stable. He is out of ICU, and that is really, really good news. Obama in a hole. Look, I want to do this show for 3 hours. We'll see you tomorrow.